Welcome to the first episode of Reality Check Survivors. Today we got a special guest, man. This is a person that I feel, man, is a good brother, man. A good brother, a good stand-up brother, man. Good artist, good person just in general, man. Just always looking to help other people. You know he got that fire when it comes to spitting them raps. So, today I bring to you Chuck T. What's up, man?
What's going on, bro?
So, man, what I want to do with these, you know what I mean, is just to get people, you know what I mean, a good understanding of who someone is, and also break it down to the simple fact that, you know, we all know what, you know what I mean, that we living in this certain thing called reality. And I want you to break it down to these people, you know what I mean, like your life story, you know what I mean, where you come from, you know what I mean, your upbringing, your ups, your downs, you know what I'm saying, because living in this day and time, a lot of us feel as if, you know what I mean, like everybody is just perfect, you know what I mean, so just give us a little backstory, man, like, you know what I mean, who Chuck T is.
Well, obviously most people, if you're from here, they know I'm born and raised, Waterloo, East Side, you know, East High all day. Family of three is me, my twin brother Chris, he's a minute older than me, but acts like he's 10 years older than I am, and our little brother Nolan, who we built a relationship with later in life. You know, it's a whole different topic and everything, but maybe we'll get into that. But yeah, we grew up pretty decently, man. Like, we had both parents. My parents been married for like 35 years or something like that, 34 years. Everything wasn't easy, but they gave us a good foundation of what real love looks like, what real marriage looks like. Our father was in the house at all times, you know. I was fortunate enough to be one of the black men in our community who grew up with a dad,
right,
who had him there at wrestling meets. He was at all my sporting events. He was at extracurricular activities. He was at conferences and stuff like that. So, and he was in the house regularly. So we grew up pretty nice. Doesn't mean that money was always there, but what I mean is we just grew up with a great foundation of what a real man was supposed to look like, how he was supposed to operate, what he was supposed to do for his family and for his wife. So, life was pretty cool. We had a lot of great experiences growing up. Went on a bunch of trips, family reunions all over the country. I mean, Detroit, Rockford, Illinois, Colorado, Minnesota, St. Louis, Louisiana. We went to all those places before I was even in high school. So it really gave me and my brother a sense that there was bigger out here than Waterloo.
Right.
Love this place, but I think you got to branch out to really understand there's more than this bubble that we live in.
Gotcha.
So that was life. Dad was hard on us growing up. He didn't play no games. At Lloyd Timms, he had that belt. It was like Zorro.
My boy Glow. Hey, shout out to my boy Glow, man.
He was definitely a disciplinarian, and honestly, if I'm being real, didn't even like my dad growing up. Like, probably until I was grown. You know what I mean? Like, because I always called him like the fun stealer. I mean, like, he always said no. Like, when it came time to do something that was fun or something that all the other kids were doing. I mean, to be honest with you, this man stopped me and blocked me from getting girls for the longest time. Not purposely, but just because like we were growing up in high school and we still had curfew. We had all these things. If you don't get A's or B's, then you won't wrestle, you won't participate in the sports. All these things that a lot of the people I was growing up with didn't have to abide by. And it seemed like all the freedom they had, all the will to go out there and do whatever they wanted to do was there, and we didn't have it. So I was like, man, we so lame, man. Like, I just grew up real pissy. Like, man, we don't do nothing.
But understanding, you know what I mean, like how hard he was on y'all. Do you feel like those principles, those values, those things that he taught you at that early age, do you feel like that kind of helped you today?
For sure. When I got older, I realized like he really loved us. Like, when you're young and you want to do what everybody else is doing because what everybody else does looks cool,
right,
and your perspective only goes to next day. You're not thinking about 5 years from now, 10 years from now. You're thinking about what am I doing tomorrow. You can't even, when you're in high school, you don't even think about what's past Friday and Saturday.
Right.
So yeah, I grew up and realized everything he did was for a reason. Because as I got older and life hit, all those things started making sense. It's like one of those movies where you don't understand nothing till like the last 10 minutes, and it just starts like the Saw. It pieces everything together at the end. You're like, oh, I get it. So that's how it was with Dad. It was a lot of things made sense when I got older. I'm very, very, very grateful that he was in our life. Very grateful that he did the things he did. You know, because he really exemplified what it looked like to face adversity and to chase success, and not only chase it but to grab it.
Right.
You know, so he gave us the attitude that no matter what, you can never lose unless you give up. You know what I mean? Like, failure is just a part of life, but you really don't truly fail unless you leave the game.
Gotcha.
That's when you fail. And I mean, he taught us that. And it's not like he actually said these things.
Right.
He wasn't like Yoda or nothing, just spitting fortune cookie, quotes, or he wasn't Miyagi. It was just the way he walked, though. Better than him saying it, he just walked it every day.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
So, like, knowing that you come from a two-parent household, like, what's your thought and your aspect on, marriage and black love? Because you've seen it inside your own house.
Yeah, it's important. You know what I mean? Like, I think marriage, got bug out of here. I think marriage is super important. I feel like because my mom and dad were married, because my mom, held it down when things took a rocky turn in their relationship. Most women would be like, oh, I'm done with him. That nigga gotta go. Blah, 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 But my mom, she got herself involved in church, got her mind and her heart, more importantly, her spirit healed. And my dad pursued her because he didn't want to, be without his kids and be without his wife. And so I really got to see that marriage isn't always sunshine and rainbows. It's really about, being one, being connected, and doing the things that God ultimately wants you to do as one. When they talk in the Bible, it talks about when you get married, you become one flesh.
Right.
It's some deep stuff. I won't go all the way into that, but I feel like it's important. Honestly, I think a lot of the reasons why our community is the way it is because families are broken up. There's no structure there. There's no, my mom and dad would tag team situations and stuff. I learned as I got older, all my passion, all my emotions come from my mother. They come from my mom. She's a really loving person. But all my drive, I guess people used to say I'm full of piss and vinegar. All that, comes from my pops. And you put them both together, and then you just really have a good combination. And I think that's important. I think it's important, especially for black households, to be able to see that black families can and do stick together. Right. I mean, I don't think there's a lack on black love. I just think it's not elevated and it's not publicized the way that broken black homes are publicized and elevated. I honestly feel that way. There's a lot of black families that are together and moving forward and doing great things. They're just not. That's not the it thing that the media wants to put out.
Gotcha. So what's knowing how you grew up, what's some things that something you faced that was made you kind of question yourself and who you are as a person? What's some of those red flags, those things that, give me some examples of things that, kind of triggered you to, the things we always talk about. What's some things that bothered you a lot growing up?
About just life?
Just not being able to grow up like other people, like you said earlier.
Okay, so A's and B's were only accepted in our house. Even though a C is a passing grade, and so is a D. But my pops was like, you average? Are you the, worst of the best and the best of the worst? So C's were unacceptable. A's and B's. And when I was younger, we were in public school, and there's nothing wrong with public school. It's just everybody isn't raised the same. So we'd be in these situations where we take tests, especially at Logan. There's a Carver before, Carver is just a Band-Aid. It's still Logan. You take that Band-Aid off, it's still Logan. Carver at Logan, man. It's still Logan in that mug. Take that Band-Aid off, Logan! For real. But when we were there, it just was, at the time, I'm just going to keep it real, I flew through all my tests. School never came hard for me. I honestly feel like I probably could have been, valedictorian if I tried. I was one of those guys, I could literally cram and get papers done a couple periods before class or a day before, and I get straight A's, man. And so when I was at Logan, just done with my test. And I remember like all my friends and peers and people, maybe associates, I wouldn't call them friends, associates, he'd be like, oh man, this nigga done already? You know what I mean? Like, man, this nerd, you know, man, he white as hell. Man, he talk white. He act white and all this other stuff. It was almost like me being like smart and being able to do those things wasn't cool, wasn't accepted. It wasn't like when me and Chris were younger, from kindergarten all the way to 4th grade, we went to private school, and our parents had a great marriage. We went to a private school. Papa Doc. I'm like Waterloo, Papa Doc. So we went to private school, but you know, mainly it was just a lot of white kids there, you know, but we always went to the Boys and Girls Club in the summer, so that way we got to connect with our own people too. But when we went to public school, none of that stuff ever happened when I was at, you know, St. Mary's. Nobody ever got, you know, offended. I was good in taking tests, and you know, I excelled in school. I excelled scholastically. It wasn't until I got to public school where that became like an issue. And it just made me mad when I was younger, because most of the people I had issues with were people that looked just like me. And it always was like, yo, this dude's white, or he's too smart, he's a nerd, and I just felt like I wasn't accepted. So growing up, I ain't gonna even stunt. Even in high school, that was something that always, you would be surprised how many things that happen to you in your childhood actually are like a disease, and they stick with you, and they fester and grow as you get older. And so that stayed with me all the way till I was in high school. It got to a point where I started cursing more. I started like just doing all these different things that I felt like would get me more accepted with everybody that looked like me. Because I am me. I am black.